get started, I will be using 4 cups of cooked long grain rice. I basically took my cup measure, packed it in with rice, and here we are, 4 cups. I'm going to spread out the rice on this baking sheet and allow it to come to room temperature. You don't want this to be piping hot and place it in your freezer, so you want it to cool off. And once it's cooled off, I will set it in the freezer for around 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, the next ingredient I will be using is shrimp. Here I have a pound of shrimp. This is cleaned and deveined, medium-sized shrimp. I'm going to add salt to taste. This is probably somewhere between a 1/4 teaspoon to a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm also going to pepper to taste. I'm using white pepper. You can use black pepper if that's what you have. I'm probably adding a 1/4 teaspoon of this pepper. And now I'm going to add 2 cloves of fresh minced garlic. I'm also going to be adding some chopped green onion. This is around 1 stalk of green onion. I chopped the green and the white of the onion. And I will also be adding a 1/4 teaspoon of chopped ginger. This is more like a paste. If you have fresh ginger, a 1/4 teaspoon, maybe to a 1/2 teaspoon, but I'm only using a 1/4 teaspoon of this pasty chopped ginger that I have in a jar. And now I'm just going to give everything a good mix. And I'm going to let this set in the fridge and marinate for around 30 minutes. And if you do not eat shrimp, use the protein of your choice. Chicken is a good way to go. Just use a pound of chicken breast and chop it up into chunks and season and marinate it the same way. Okay, so the next ingredients are bean sprouts. Here I have around 5 ounces of bean sprouts, or just a bunch. And I'm also going to be using green onion. And these are 4 stalks of green onion that I'm just going to chop up. And when it comes to fried rice, I'm pretty simple when it comes to veggies. You could also add some julienne carrot. I know peas and carrots are a popular veggie that goes into fried rice. Personally, I don't like it. I just pretty much like bean sprouts and green onions. But again, you do what you like. This is just a basic recipe. Okay, and now I am going to use a 1/4 cup of chicken broth and 2.5 tablespoons of dark soy sauce. If you do not have dark soy sauce, you can use regular soy sauce. I just like using dark soy sauce because it really gives it that color I want when I'm making fried rice. And you could also lessen the amount of dark soy sauce that you use. If you find 2.5 tablespoons is just too much salt or sodium, scale back or use a low sodium soy sauce. But I'm sticking with 2.5 tablespoons. Okay, so my rice is pretty much ready. It has that day-old rice texture, which is what you're looking for. And you could actually use day-old rice, but I didn't have any. So this is the method I do, which I think a lot of people do, to get that texture of rice when you're about to fry rice. I'd also like to mention that if you check the description below this video, I will place the ingredients and measurements there, along with links to other recipe videos that I think you might like. Okay, so this rice is ready. It's the texture that I want, so I'm ready to start frying this rice. Here I have my pan preheating, and I have around 3 tablespoons of cooking oil in the pan. And now I am going to start cooking my shrimp. I'm working with a medium-high heat, and I'm only going to sear this shrimp for around a minute on each side just to get the cooking process started. It's not going to cook all the way through at this point because it's going to continue cooking while I add other ingredients to the pan. And I do it this way because I don't want to overcook the shrimp. Rubbery shrimp is just tough to eat, so this is why I do it this way. And if you are using, for example, chicken breast, again, you would cook the chicken breast probably all the way through. I wouldn't hold back cooking chicken breast all the way through, but shrimp cooks a lot faster, so bear that in mind. Okay, so while the shrimp continues cooking, I'd like to share a story with you. So one of my first memories of ever having American-style Chinese food was with my dad, and he would take us to this Chinese restaurant called Lee's Inn, and it's in Houston, Texas. So for any of my Houston, Texas subscribers or viewers, leave a comment below and tell me if you remember Lee's Inn. I had to have been 4. This was in the 80s, by the way, not to give my age away. but I really do remember having delicious food there. And I think it closed down in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, when I do cook American style Chinese food at home, it does remind me of my dad and his love for Chinese food. Okay, so at this point, I'm just creating a space in the pan and I'm going to add my bean sprouts. And again, you can use the vegetables of your choice. Sometimes I like to add some julienne carrot in here as well and some diced onion, but today I'm just going to keep it simple. So I'm going to saute those for a minute and then I'm going to start adding my rice. Okay, so now that that is combined well, I'm going to now add my soy and chicken broth mixture into the pan. And I want to reiterate that if you find that 2.5 tablespoons of dark soy sauce is just too much, you can scale back and maybe use 1 or 2. And you could also substitute that with a low sodium soy sauce. But one of the reasons that I like to use dark soy sauce is because it gives it that deep, rich color that I look for in a fried rice instead of adding copious amounts of just the regular soy sauce. So that's why I do that. And the addition of the chicken broth, it's just another level of flavor that I like in my fried rice. And I'd like to add, I'm actually a bit weird when it comes to fried rice. I don't know why I do this, but I actually like to have a scoop of fried rice and a scoop of steamed rice and I mix it. I don't know, you would think just scale back on the soy sauce, but there's something about the combination of textures of a steamed rice and fried rice. I don't know. Does anybody else do that, or am I just the only weirdo? Okay, so I'm just going to continue frying and mixing this rice until it is combined well, and I'd like to remind you that I am working with a medium-high heat. I don't go full high heat because then things will start burning at the bottom of the pan. Trust me, I know, because I've burnt a lot of food that way. Now I'm going to add the green onion. Again, you can change the ratios of the fresh ingredients that I add in here. For example, if you want more bean sprouts, add more bean sprouts, and if you want more green onion, add more. And again, I'm just going to give this a toss. And I will say this, I only used 3 tablespoons of oil, and it probably didn't look like much in this large pan. By the way, this is a 12-inch pan, but it does go a long way and it does get the job done. So once this is all combined, I have one last ingredient that I will be adding, and that is sesame oil. And actually the rice right now is great. It's good just the way it is. But I do like to add a hint of sesame oil. I will be adding an eyeballed guesstimate of 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. And if you don't have sesame oil on hand, just leave it out. It's not going to ruin this fried rice. It's just as delicious, but it's just another layer of flavoring that I like to add to my rice. So today I am making the shrimp fried rice to go alongside my beef and broccoli recipe. Be on the lookout for that video. So my rice is done and we're ready for dinner. So I certainly hope you guys give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.